We are going to replace some drivetrain. So this is a Santa Cruz High Tower CC. We're going to replace the cassette. We're going from Sram to Shimano. So going from XT rear hub driver to a microspline Shimano. We're going to be going to a cassette, which is a Shimano XT. So basically we're running a partial drivetrain. We're doing a hybrid. We're sticking with a Sram axis rear derailleur or wireless, along with the wireless shifter, but everything else would be Shimano. So understanding is we will be able to pedal a little harder under pressure and make a gear change. Usually we're letting off on gear pedal pressure when we do a gear change. Usually recommended. The electronic shifting may allow you to apply a little more shifting pressure or pedaling pressure, but then upgrading to this Shimano cassette along with Shimano chain, Shimano drivetrain in the front, so we're going crankset and chainring. That electronic axis shifting should allow us to have maybe crispier shifts and under pressure and stress. So that's the idea. We're going to do it, test it, see what we got. So I'm going to go ahead and start here. You could start with cassette, you could start with the crankset. Here we got an MRP chain guide, so we got to get this out of the way. Use your 4mm hex tool. You might be able to loosen it and just kind of move this partially. Might allow you to take the chain off. There we go. And just to make sure you don't lose that screw there. So chain is coming off. We're going to find the quick link on this. We're going to disassemble that. And here we go. And I'm just using the Park tool. It's the quick link remover. Just going to give it a squeeze. You should hear it feel a little pop, little indent, a little bit of friction. These are good for 1, 2, 3, maybe disassembly, reassembly, because every time you open and close it, you wear it out. So if you're doing a race, you don't want to have any issues, just replace it right off the bat, no questions asked. So crankset's coming off next. Typically an 8mm hex tool is used. It's either we're on the drive side. If you're sitting on the bike, this is the right side. Looks like this is it. And sometimes the bolt can be located, depending on your make model. It can be located over here on the opposite side, but the opposite side is completely hollow. I can stick my finger in there. So definitely recommend this. Arm over the top tube, armpit sitting on top of that top tube. Have the crank arm closest to you on my right side over here. So I can grab that. I can put my hand on the pedal or the crank arm. And then I'm going to keep this so horizontal, and we're going counterclockwise. So I'm lifting up, pushing down on this side, and I just need to crack it free. Oh, this is going to be a tight one. And don't be afraid to move this around in your repair stand. Your repair stand is going to be your best friend. So if this hasn't been taken off before, these can be torqued to 52, 54 Newton meters, and they can be a bear. Oh yeah, so this one's going to be, oh my God, really tough. So we're gonna have to get some extensions, get some better leverage. All right, so I was able to break that free. These can be really tough. They may put them at 54 Newton meters, the highest they can go, which can be a nightmare for whoever has to take this off. So I've heard of people using an impact wrench. I don't know if that's recommended. If you use it, definitely know what you're doing. You just gotta crack it free. It just has to move that 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch or so, and then it should be home free after that. But do the best you can with regular tools, get good length extensions, and get a buddy. All right, so this definitely has to come off. This whole unit's coming out, and looks like I may clear this chain. If not, just take it off. Hang on to your crank arm. So it's backing out. You definitely need this outer ring here. This ring has 1, 2, 3, 4, has 4 little holes, might be 4 or 6. That ring, you need that. If you lose it, you need to get it replaced because it's part of your self-extraction system. There's an inner bolt that wants to come out. This ring will stop the bolt from coming out, which will then hold on to your, or force your crank to come off, and you get it off there because it's held in with a lot of friction. So and also the other thing, if you see 2 torque numbers, this one just says 54, but sometimes it'll say 54, and then it says 8mm hex, that's the tool, but it may give you another number of like 5 or 10 Newton meters, something really low, telling you that's what this ring is supposed to be torqued to, which is confusing because you feel like you need to take this ring on or off at some point, which you do not. Definitely do not touch that outer ring. There we go, we're free. And then this should slide out from the other side. Crank arms to just pull right out. If it's tough, get a rubber mallet, do some gentle taps as you're pulling on the other side, and it'll pull that whole shaft out. And when you do this, beware, there may be a seal cover coming off with it, or it might be stuck to your bearing here. Same with the other side, you might have a spacer on one side or the other, so things may fall or hit the ground. Keep an eye on what fell, where it came from. This is the left side or non-drive side. This looks pretty good. We just have, I can get my fingers on this bearing, give it a spin, should feel super smooth. Should not feel tough, should not feel gritty, should not have any tight spots. But I don't see a seal here, but there could be a seal, and it just really blends in. If it stays in place, great. Nothing wants to come off, so just keep that in mind. That looks good on that one. This is the right side if we're sitting on the bike, or drive side. This looks like it may have something, there we go. So this is just a spacer. It might be a 5 mil or 10 mil spacer that's needed on this drive side. If you don't have this, your chainring is going to sit closer to the frame, and your chainring may want to hit your frame there, so definitely needed, but looks very similar to the other side at this point. It spins really nice. So you're doing an inspection. If you need to, you have creaks, you could always take your bottom bracket out, use the appropriate tool, take that out. Santa Cruz uses a threaded bottom bracket, which is great, super versatile. It's an industry standard. You can take that out, clean your threads on the bottom bracket on the frame, re-grease, re-torque this to a proper setting. You can do a quick little overhaul there. Since it's a Sram crankset, we have a Sram bottom bracket. It is running a 30 millimeter spindle. These are carbon, so they're amazingly light, but thickness and diameter here, that's the shaft or spindle, 30 millimeters, so you're having a 30 millimeter opening there. We are going to Shimano, which is running a skinnier spindle, so therefore we're got to use the appropriate Shimano bottom bracket. So we're going from 30 down to, I think this is like 24 or 25 millimeters.